Sign this or the wedding is off. That's what Ethan's parents told me 3 days before I was meant to walk down the aisle. My name is Freya Williams. I'm 28, and I thought I was about to marry the love of my life. Instead, I was handed a prenuptial agreement, pages of one-sided terms that stripped me of property, rights, even the company I had built with my own hands. They believed I was powerless, just a teacher's daughter reaching too high. But behind my quiet facade was 9 million, a thriving tech business, and the determination to never kneel. They gave me an ultimatum. What I gave back was something they'd never forget. I wasn't born with emerald rings part 2, Chicago roots, and a hidden empire or private tutors. I was raised in Abrick House on Chicago's west side. Both me parents taught high school. They gave everything to their students and stretched every dollar at home. Vacations meant road trips. Back-to-school clothes meant clearance racks. Still, we were rich in values, education, integrity, grit. I learned to outwork everyone. Scholarships were my ticket. All-nighters in the library paid for Northwestern tuition. When my grandfather passed senior year, he left a surprise. $7 million in investments he'd built quietly across decades. To the world, he was a modest man in cardigans. To me, he became seed capital for a dream. I started an edtech company in Asmal apartment, coffee-fueled and code-heavy. By 26, it was valued at $2 million. Yet I lived simply. Practical car, modest apartment, clean lines. I wanted success to speak louder than spectacle. That's why no one, not even Ethan, knew the numbers. Only my parents, my best friend Jenna, and my lawyer, Harold. When I met Ethan at a charity gala, I saw warmth, not wealth. He listened. He cared about education. He made me laugh until my ribs ached. And when he proposed, I believed we were equals building something real. But love can't mute whispers forever. At the Blackwood estate, Victoria praised my scholarship with that daggered smile. Richard spoke over me as though I were Ethan's +1. I swallowed the sting, telling myself love was bigger than pride. Planning the wedding, Victoria changed guest lists, flowers, even cakes. Each time I compromised, I told myself details were small. Then came the prenup. 3 days before the vows, they showed me what they thought I was worth. They called it protection. To me, it was a razor. I called Jenna before the crying part 3, ambushed at tea, betrayed by silence, stopped. They ambushed me, I said. 3 days out, ultimatum at tea. Her rage snapped through the phone. Call Harold 7 a.m. sharp. I texted him, then opened the prenup. Section 4, paragraph 3, they'd net my code in a divorce over my dead startup. Dawn found me in charcoal suit. Pearls from Grandpa, laptop glowing like a war room. Harold arrived precise and unhurried. He read silently, pen-a-tapping. At page 8, his jaw set. This is aggressively one-sided, he said. Borderline coercive given the timing. Can we beat it? I asked. We can replace it, he smiled. With something actually fair, we drafted a counter prenup from scratch. Mutual protection of premarital assets, ironclad IP carve-outs, equitable division tied to duration and contribution, clear rules for future earnings and property, no hidden trapdoors, no legacy trump cards. Now the leverage, Harold said. I opened the folder of statements. 7.5 in investments, 1.5 in company valuation. Total 9, he confirmed. Are they aware? Not a clue, I said. He nodded, already strategizing. Good facts first, drama never. I texted Ethan, we need toe talk. Carlucci's at 1. He arrived rumpled, eyes exhausted. I told them the ultimatum's unacceptable, he said. If Fanyon cancels, it's us. Hope loosened the knot in my chest. But you should see this, I said. I slid the folder across. He scanned, then looked up, stunned. Freya 9 million. My grandfather and my work. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted love without ledgers, I said. And your parents test people with money. It wasn't a test of you. It became a test of them. He breathed out, shame flickering. I should have told you about the prenup. I should have told you the numbers, I said. Transparency starts here. He straightened, lawyer Spina returning. What's our play? I placed Harold's document between us. Balanced, precise, non-negotiable fundamentals. We present it tonight, he said. Together, neutral ground. I added Lakeviews Part 4, Ethan, Truth, and the 9 Manila reveal private room. He nodded. Mom will be late on purpose. Let her, I said. We'll be early on principle. We rehearsed answers between sips of water. No anger, no apologies for boundaries, no debating my worth. If they asked why I hid it, I'd say I chose privacy over performance. If they pushed deadlines, we'd mirror theirs back politely. Ethan reached for my hand. I choose us, he said. Not the family script? Then act like it tonight, I said. Every sentence matters. I messaged Harold. Phase 1 complete, he replied. Remember, fairness isn't a concession. I closed the laptop and stood. Fear buzzed, resolve and cord. Tonight we stop auditioning and start negotiating. Lakeview's private room gleamed like a courtroom, mahogany table. Crystal light. 4 place settings. Distance measured in inches. We arrived early, calm by design. Sparkling water untouched. Folders aligned like chess pieces. At 6:17, the door opened. Victoria swept in, burgundy armor flashing. Richard followed, cufflinks catching judgment. Darling, she air-kissed Ethan, ignoring me. What a charming venue for a signature. Please sit, I said evenly. We have things to discuss. They sat opposite, poised. Ethan went first, voice steady. Your document is unacceptable in approach and terms. Richard's brows rose. It's the standard Blackwood agreement. Standard doesn't mean fair, Ethan replied. Nor respectful 3 days before vows. Victoria waved her hand, impatient. This isn't personal, Ethan. It's prudent protection of legacy. I opened my portfolio. Protection matters when it protects both sides. Richard frowned. That wasn't our arrangement. Plans change when facts surface, I said. I slid a folder forward. Here are the facts. He reached a lawyer reflex awakening. Numbers stared back. 7.5 in investments. 1.5 in valuation. Total 9 million. Victoria blinked like a flash misfired. That's impossible. Do you drive an old Audi? I value substance over theater, I said. My parents are teachers. My grandfather invested quietly. I built the rest. Silence clanged. Richard recalibrated almost audibly. These appear legitimate, he admitted. Why conceal this? Would you have treated me differently? The answer flushed Victoria's cheeks. Ethan studied the moment. We're presenting an alternative, he said. Balanced protection for both families. I placed the counterpren down. Premarital assets remain separate. Ironclad IP protections. Equitable division tied to contribution and time. No trapdoors. No legacy trump cards. Richard skimmed, eyes narrowing. Some terms are unusual. Fair, Ethan countered. Unlike your version, Victoria bristled. You sprang this on us publicly. You sprang yours on me privately, I said. 3 days out. With an ultimatum, Richard lifted a palm. We'll need attorney review. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. I said the wedding is in 2 days. That's hardly sufficient, Victoria hissed. It matched your deadline, I replied. Richard's mouth twitched. Understood, he said. Any changes must preserve balance. Non-negotiable fundamentals, Ethan confirmed. Coercion ends now. Victoria studied me. Brittle but honest. I misjudged you, she said. Then we can all improve, I answered. Richard extended a hand. You're formidable. Equal partner, I said. We left before they regrouped. The lake held silver breath. Ethan exhaled. You were magnificent. We were aligned. I said, that's the point. They came for compliance. I delivered Capital Council Part 5, the Lakeview Showdown in Terms. At 6:12 p.m. sharp, Ethan and I walked into the private dining room at Lakeview Restaurant. The mahogany table gleamed under the chandelier. 4 place settings. Ready for a war disguised as dinner. Richard and Victoria swept in late. As expected, all diamonds and disdain. Richard didn't bother with pleasantries. Freya 9:00 a.m. came and went. I trust you've reached a sensible decision. I slid a leather folder across the table. We reviewed your prenup. It was unacceptable. Here's our counter. Victoria laughed softly, the sound sharp as glass. Counter? My dear, you misunderstand. You were to sign, not negotiate. Plans change, I said evenly, especially when new information comes to light. I opened the folder, revealing the balanced agreement. Harold and I had drafted along with my financial portfolio. My assets total about 9 million or 7.5 in investments, 1.5 in my company. The color drained from Victoria's face. Richard snatched up the documents, scanning them with growing disbelief. This is legitimate completely, I replied. And this agreement protects us both fairly. Your version was coercion. This one eyes equality, Ethan added firmly. This is non-negotiable. If we marry, it's asquils. The silence that followed was thick enough to cut. The only sound was the faint clink of crystal. From the next room, laughter from diners who had no idea a battlefield lay behind this door. Victoria finally found her voice. Why hide this? Why pretend to be less? Because I wanted to be loved for who I am, I answered. Not for what's in my bank account. Richard's lawyer's mask slipped into place. We'll need our attorneys to review. You have until tomorrow, I said. The wedding is in 2 days. This ends before then. Victoria's eyes narrowed. She wasn't used to deadlines imposed by anyone but herself, yet the papers on the table told Astery she couldn't ignore. Richard gave a curt nod. We'll review by 3 p.m. tomorrow. No tricks, no reverting tune-sided terms. Ethan reached for my hand. This is the marriage we want. Partnership, not control. For the first time, Victoria didn't look at me with contempt, but with something closer to respect, tinged, perhaps with fear. In that room, their power shifted. I had walked into their arena, but I was Theon holding the ground now. 2 days, part 6. A wedding of equals later, I stood in my dress, veil pinned, heart steady. The new prenup had been signed, balanced, fair, protective of us both. Not a weapon, but a shield. As I walked down the aisle, Ethan's eyes found mine filled with pride. Not pride in conquering me, but pride in standing beside me as an equal. The ceremony felt different now. Not a surrender to his family's legacy, but the creation of our own. Every vow spoken carried the weight of the battles fought in those days before. At the reception, whispers swirled. The Blackwood's smug certainty was gone. Richard introduced me as Freya Williams, entrepreneur and partner. Even Victoria's gaze had softened, the edges dulled by reality. Later, in a quiet corner, Ethan whispered, "We did it." And for the first time in days, I believed him completely. Because this wasn't just about money. It was about refusing to be underestimated. It was about drawing a line between love and control, between compromise and surrender. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply stand your ground. Sometimes the strongest way to love is to demand respect first. That week taught me that power isn't in the family name or the millions in the bank. It's in knowing your worth and never letting anyone diminish it. So if you've ever been told to sign away your dignity, to accept less than you deserve, remember this. Respect is the only inheritance worth fighting for. Have you ever had to prove your worth? To people who underestimated you, share your story in the comments.